even as a child, I was just fascinated by music. Both my parents played music. My mom and dad both played the piano. My dad, I would sit when I was little and listen in amazement as he played the piano in the dark in the living room when he'd come home from work. My dad had a job working for NASA, and actually when I was 3, my mother gave birth to my brothers and sister, who are triplets. Growing up was fun. We grew up in Nassau Bay, Texas, which is right across the street from Mission Control in Houston. We did the normal things kids do, Halloween, and just had a blast. It was, in the early 70s, and things were good. The holidays were always a special time for us, full of plenty of energy in the house, as you can imagine. We had a large dog, an Irish Wolfhound. It was kind of like the Scooby-Doo of our life. As a child, I was naturally hyper. I would sit around and listen to my parents' albums, and for whatever reason, I would spin in circles and circles and circles and leap all over the room, sometimes actually resulting in a hospital visit. All in all, growing up as a kid, living down there on Texas Gulf Coast, down there in Nassau Bay, in Corel, Texas, was really great. We did all the normal things that kids did. We had baseball and sports and all kinds of community-based things. And of course, there was always so much pride in the community, and there still is to this day, about our heritage and stuff. And 4th of July was always a big thing. You're looking at some footage back in the early 70s of 4th of July. Parade actually in Clear Lake Forest. Everybody's parents worked at NASA or had some affiliation with NASA or the astronauts. For a time, Neil Armstrong lived right behind me. Mattingly actually lived directly behind me. So everybody was very proud of our space program there, and Apollo 13. And of course, these days we have the shuttle, and that pride is still very deep today. I mean, our people are no stranger to space flight or the dangers of space flight, but looking back on it, I think it's all pretty cool. I mean, what did they do where you come from? Well, put men on the moon. I love that. Towards the end of junior high and high school, I was really getting into music, wanted to be in a band, and I met some older kids. John Candido used to wear a turban when he played bass, and myself, and through the smoky halls of Clear Lake High School back in the early 80s, we got together with another kid named Mark Key. We had a friend that was a local DJ in Dickinson on the radio that helped give us a push, and we formed our first band. And we had a gig at the Red Barn in Kemah, Texas. Don't look for it, it's no longer there. One thing about the area was it was partial to hurricanes and flooding. As kids, we used to play in the floodwaters, and after 2009, when the storm hit, I was pleasantly surprised to find both homes I grew up in still there.
In 1983, during Hurricane Alicia, me, John Candido, and my buddy Jeff Ham were wading through water about knee-deep through this corridor right here, and we came around here to this door, and at this door frame there used to be a big metal door, and we could hear all this, and the lights were out, flickering, and anyway we started pulling on the door, and we were about knee-deep in water, and all of a sudden the door came flying off the hinges, and behind this wall, out here where the water is, there's probably 2 stories of water stacked up on the apartments, and the water came flushing down this hallway, and then tried to suck us back out into the sea into the storm. It happened right here, 1983, Hurricane Alicia.
I lived through Alicia too.
Hey, you can't say that on YouTube.
And this, I already know what this is, and I need one of these. I don't have one.
I don't know, what is it?
What
is it? Yeah. What does it mean?
It's a spoon, Stimpy, and a spatula.
Well, what are you going to do with those?
His eyes. Look at that.
That's going on YouTube. That's going on YouTube, baby. YouTube, baby.
I thought it was plastic.
Sounded
Hollow. I was about to say. I heard of an acoustical reverb going on in there.
I was like, boom, boom, I'm just going to do it real quick. I'm glad I didn't do it this time. Oh, yeah, that's just what I needed.
Getting back to high school, there were several other little bands, but the major band that stuck was Spitfire. 4 guys, and we had some other friends in on it too. We basically set up and jam anywhere, anytime. We recorded tapes all the time, relentlessly, cassette after cassette after cassette. Basically, wherever we decided to set up and play, that's where we were going to do it. Whether it be a swimming pool, parking lot, or the music store, didn't matter. Finally, I think the cops got sick of breaking us up at this place called The Rocks, and they gave us the Ed White Youth Center.
Friday night, March 22nd, 8 o'clock. Ed White Youth Center welcomes Spitfire. Free admission to this rock and roll extravaganza.
After that, again, there were several more bands that attempt, but everything kind of led to a darker image. And then I got together with some guys in college. There were 5 of us, and we talked about what if man keeps going the same direction? What if we keep on polluting the oceans and the atmosphere? And what if this happens? What about nuclear war? And what's this new thing called AIDS? And the band was full of visionaries who saw the darker side of, unfortunately, what's become most of our world today. We discussed things like global warming, talked about the bombing of Baghdad, which back then people said, y'all are crazy, Persia's our ally, why would the United States ever bomb Baghdad? We also spoke of things like children dying from ice, the smoke kind. People said, what are you guys talking about? We were talking about in the future, of course, there'd be some new drug called ice, which now is this. This band had the uncanny ability of predicting the future and just how awful our future could be. The words our singer came up with, Lee Baker, were just incredible. Just discussed all kinds of things, and people still ask me today about that record. How did we know? To tell you the truth, we really didn't. I'm sorry. At this time, I remember playing a lot of the larger clubs, and we were getting to open for some pretty big acts, and getting really noticed, mostly for our dark image at the time. But at this time, I thought to myself, wow, looks like I am headed somewhere. I'm not really sure where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere. Of course, I had no idea over the next 30 or 40 years, all the adventures and things that we're going to be facing in the future. Looking back on it, I don't know where we came up with all the energy. I call it the fire, because we used to have a desire to play anywhere at any time. The older I get, that's not so much the case, but you know, I don't know about that. Here I am in the park with my bodyguard, PM, and you know, I enjoy still coming out to a strange place and playing under a tree and setting up and making people happy. The next band to come into my life was Power Rage, Power from God, Rage Against Drugs. We were a Christian band, and we were a bunch of addicts trying to stay off of drugs. But we were practicing in Francisco Studios right behind George R. Convention Center. And the youth had been taken over by a Pink Panther, Pink Lady, Pink Lady was everywhere. It affected everybody differently. It came in so many different forms. It was all over the place, and it was all we could do just to stay off of it. Most of the band's songs were about the battle against drugs and doing the right thing. Gerald Sears, who was the leader of the band, was a great writer. He wrote a lot of good songs. We had a feature player in this band. We actually had James Mathis from Point Blank here in Texas fame, and combined with a younger member, Mike Hendricks. The age span of this band was massive. All of us were different ages, ranging from 18 to 56, and somehow we all got along, and we all managed to do our thing, and we had a really good time in this band. It's some of the best years I've ever had, especially the Headbangers Ballroom. See them 10 years later, they even played Madfest down in Houston. In the end, I was happy to say Power Rage won their battle with sobriety, and they're some of the straightest guys I know today.
On more than several occasions, some brand new stuff. Y'all hearing it here first. Brand new Southside. It's called Hammer Down.
And through Power Rage and some other friends, I met this girl, and she was singing in a band, and I was playing in a different band, and lo and behold, we came together in the same band, and what do you do when that happens? What do you do when you're the drummer in the band, and you have a beautiful girl as the lead singer in the band? Well, of course you marry the girl. This was a real exciting time in my life. I was so busy every day. I was teaching school, substitute teaching junior high and high school. I had a house I was working on and building a jam hall. I just had a billion projects going on. I was teaching guitar, playing drums, teaching drums. Had a dog named TC, a pit bull. It was just a very, very exciting time. Weekends were full of parties at my place, barbecues and ribs, and plenty of hammering down and plenty of beer drinking in Alvin, Texas. People in Alvin, Texas are very, very sweet. And I lived there for 10 years and went to college there. And in a lot of ways, I will always consider Alvin another home. This time in my life I was pretty straight. The hammer down we're referring to is all the drinking, and there was a lot of drinking. If that was the one thing to claim, you'll see the Corel bottle sitting right there on the railing. This band knew how to drink, and we did that very well. we're also very fortunate to have the college radio station, which 3 of us were actually DJing at the time, and so we were recording at the college and pushing our music over the airwaves at the same time, and it was just a really, really fun time. I mean, it must have something to do with being in the mid-20s. Again, I just don't know where the energy came from, because we had plenty of it, and we sure had plenty of fun along with it.
Something like this. Oh, hi.
And by the way, folks, all this
Scotch tape.
soundproofing is in an apartment, so they're like nails all over the walls.
Yeah, and plywood and molly bolts and carpet and really cat litter. This is a car built for the future, Mexicanized by myself. This is Matt's car, another future design. This is one I want to have in the year 2012 with fuzzy wheels, fuzzy green wheels. The freezer consists of flavor ice, you know, these little groovy things you get. Really good deal. And a couple stale front stickles that have been melted over that when I get real desperate I will eat.
Right. How much would 10 tacos cost?
The tacos is $6.36.
$6? Yeah. We'll get, how many tacos? Do y'all want to eat a bunch of tacos?
What you wanted, sir?
That's fine. Just get that.
Okay, 10 tacos. Anything
I
else?
thought about just taking a 20, rolling it up and smoking it.
$50, Sam. Smoke it.
And this is a stop and go. Here we are. This is some lady coming out of stop and go. They probably don't want to be filmed. This is probably illegal, but we don't give a shit.
What the hell?
Pop around.
I'll see one.
Let's film the nice lady. This is a nice lady inside. Can we film you? You okay? This is a nice lady in stop and go. She's our friend. She's cool. Is this illegal? You don't care, right? Great. $3.03. No, wait. Let me do it the American way.
The next band I presented was Deadbolt. I followed an ad from a local Pasadena newspaper, a band looking for a drummer, and I came across William Scott and Donald Harrison. These 2 guys have been friends for a long, long time, and they were together in the Navy. And while they were in the Navy, they came up with the whole concept for the band Deadbolt. This band was loud and proud. We played at extremely high volumes and weren't ashamed to do so. William had a good friend that owned a local bar known as Bud's Bar on Spencer Highway in Pasadena. It basically became our place of practice. We worked it out with them where we could have all the free barbecue we needed to eat and constant supply of beer, and it was on. Of course, it didn't take long for people to notice that there was a real good heavy metal band playing in this local tavern. And then we attracted the attention of the Pasadena Citizen newspaper, which gave us a write-up, and that helped push the band into even bigger and better things. Many years later, Donald Harrison created Dead Rage, which is a cartoon on the internet about Deadbolt. And Deadbolt was really one of the loudest bands I've played in and proudest bands I've played in. Just great American rock and roll, and we really, really had a good time in that band.
It's always very happy to make me see that some of the bands I've been in for the years have gotten together later on, like Lots Rock, Seven Strings, Power Rage. These bands have been together for at least 20 or 30 years with several different lineups, and always good to see them strong and still doing things in Texas. And it's always good, no matter what part of Texas I'm in, to always find my friends.
Another band I was in 1993 was Miles Per Hour. Miles Per Hour had Donnie Phillips in the band. He used to be a supercross racer, racing dirt bikes professionally for a while. I got a call from my old friend John Candido. John and I had been together in several bands. Just tons of bands. And anyway, he found some new guys and said, well, come out and jam. And I said, sure, man. And so I packed my stuff and showed up at the house in El Lago, Texas. We practiced almost in the attic. We had a young guitar player, Michael Yaskoff. Sadly to say, I heard years later he died. Every year in the local area, the Lions Club down in League City, Texas would throw a festival-sized event that had carnivals, rides, bands, all kinds of groovy stuff. And this band primarily focused on that gig. We, already some of these guys had made a name, and I had made a name around the area, so they contacted one of the guys, and we set up to play. We cut a CD. Of our cover songs. We had more heart. This band practiced so hard. It's probably the best cover band I've ever been in my life. And that's the truth. And sadly enough, we walked out on that stage in front of that festival crowd, saw the people out there, and they had a good time. We had a good time. Sadly enough, that was the last time, and we didn't even know, but that was the last time we were ever going to play together. And that's sad, but that's the way it is in rock and roll.